Big problem with this space is that guys are willing to take direction from almost anybody. A big problem with this space is the Lost Boys. The problem with the Lost Boys is that they're lost and they don't know how to make goals. And it's something I've noticed not just in this space, the red-pilled space, but basically in any space, is that guys are willing to take direction from almost anybody. They're essentially looking for Dad 2.0. Sometimes it's Jordan Peterson telling them a bunch of stuff on how to live their life. Sometimes it's a random guy online giving life advice. Sometimes it's some girl who says, "Oh yeah, you're the one for me. I'm too tired and I have a headache right now." The point is, guys are falling for what's called categorical imperatives, when what they should be falling for is hypothetical imperatives. The difference? One of them requires you to use your damn noggin. So in this one, we're going to go over the difference between this stuff and a great example of probably the best piece of red-pilled advice you're ever going to hear. And it's the advice you most need, but offers the least for you. I wasn't the first guy to show up here, and I am definitely not the last. I'm not the best guy, but I'm far from the worst. I did what I had to do, I got out, and I passed it on to others. It's a worldwide, male-only space, a giant take a penny, leave a penny jar. It's not a charity, and everything is based on everybody providing value to each other. It's a red-pilled space, and it's what we used to have before the co-ed hit. So based on a lot of what I've seen from my wonderful guys at Patreon, I found the need to state what you can expect to learn from the red pill. The locker room community, the sidebar series, the rational male, etc. Why we discuss women behaving a certain way, especially in response to your actions and inactions. What tools are available to you, advice on how to use those tools with examples, where you're screwing up, and why. When detailed descriptions of your problems are provided. It's not that you won't get responses, and it's not just me, but a lot of very switched on men in the various spaces have been doing this for years. But 100% of what none of us can do, none of us want to do, not me, not Rule Zero Dad, not Carl, not Rolo, not Rich, not Troy, not John Fitch, not Paul, not Myron, not any of us is make your important life decisions for you. We cannot decide whether you get married or not, and you don't want us to answer that anyways. We cannot decide whether you get a divorce or not. You don't want us to answer that anyways. We cannot decide whether you have a kid or have more kids, and you don't want us to answer that anyways. We cannot decide whether you buy that car because you don't want us to answer that one anyways. We cannot decide to take that job, and you don't want us to answer that anyways. We can't decide whether you cohabitate, and you don't want us answering that anyways. We can't decide on whether you move or not, and you don't want us to answer that anyways. And we cannot decide whether you stay monogamous or decide to cheat, and you don't want us to answer that for you anyways. We can provide the tools, and we can help you use them. But you must decide what you want to build with it. We're all about helping you understand how to use the tools to form the frame of what you want, but you have to know at least that much first. I mean, I've said it as far back as 2018 when I was just some random dude on the internet. You're building the ship and you're its captain. And you can build anything. You can build a yacht. You can build a fishing boat. You can build a cruise liner. Or you can build a boat that keeps a mistress on the side. No boat is better than any other boat, but there's only your boat and somebody else's boat. And I don't know about you, but if somebody tries to sail my boat, I'm gonna shiv them at the meal line. So you have to know the direction you want to go, the end state of what you want. At the very least, a general direction. And if you can't even make those basic decisions, you are definitely not in position to evaluate the responses to any of your questions. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind. I mean, it's why I'm going to forever have content to put out. Like, relationship breakdowns are way easier when it's from a guy who has no idea what he's doing and writing down a train wreck of his life for everybody to dissect. And If you still have no idea what direction you want to go, well, we have a set of foundational works in the Married Red Pill. I've expanded on them in our Patreon's private area. I've called it the Locker Room. Added a series on my YouTube channel called the Sidebar. The playlist is over there. Reading No More Mr. Nice Guy and When I Say No, I Feel Guilty can be a great starting point if you find yourself this desperate. Reading The Rational Male lets you have an idea of what's going on between men and women at that 10,000 foot level. There's plenty of other resources out there, secular and religious, if you're asking the bigger picture questions. But stuff like that, stuff that high up, it's out of my scope, and I wish you well, but those answers ain't here, bub. Now, a lot of guys are curious how the guys in here think. So if you're asking these questions, the guys may answer you, they may not, they may ignore you, and more than likely, they're going to bust your balls for having such autistic questions instead of focusing on the glaring gaps in your life. Again, these are answers from a lot of us who use these tools here and don't indicate an ought to, just an is. So it's not a categorical, but hypothetical imperatives. The difference? Categorical imperatives are the rules of the universe. Good men wear flannel. Good men start campfires. Men who are, insert positive identity here, always do manipulative plow horse activity here. And they are no different than mom telling her 2-year-old he's a bad boy if he doesn't pick up his toys. I mean, you're a fully grown man. You don't need mom 2.0 shaming you into particular behavior, and you don't need dad 2.0 telling you how to live your life online. And if you ignore all this, and you will, you'll go online with your broken up jigsaw puzzle of a life, you'll dump it on the table, and then ask guys here how to put it together. They don't know what your jigsaw looks like, so they'll tell you how to put together theirs. Imagine, strangers actually making important life decisions for you. Sometimes it even hits the mark, but that's not the point. It's like cheating on a test. Well, you got your answer, and it may help you pass that exam, but you haven't learned those basic life skills or the mental models that anchored the decisions that allowed you to arrive at that conclusion. So now, going forward, you still won't be able to answer those basic life questions for yourself. And you'll search for Dad 3.0 and Dad 4.0, and then one day you'll wake up and be 45, still asking guys online, hey, I just bought a fishing boat and I have to borrow money from my wife's parents to pay for the kids' schooling. Am I alpha? And the more you keep coming back, asking the same questions you shouldn't be asking, the more you enter that downward spiral that's ugly to watch, but entertaining nonetheless. So just know, there's people out there who will take advantage of you to make a buck. Plus, you'll stay lost forever. You'll bumble on through, still bewildered, and maybe at the end hold a degree in something another person wanted that isn't what you really like. Civil engineering? What? I really wanted to be a doctor. Well, it's too late. Easy Pussy Red Pill 69 liked that he was an engineer, and you did keep asking him what to do with your life. Now, if this sounds mean and disrespectful, good. It's supposed to. Sometimes people are mean to help you. Sometimes people are mean to provide you as an example to others who are still helpable. Either way, you've been coddled, you've been treated with kid gloves, you've been kindly lied to your whole life. The last thing you need is someone to be kind to you while you continue to screw up something as important as your own life. And hey, sometimes Biff is just standing on the corner with his boat because he's a dick and he likes to run his speedboat by Loser Bay, spraying people with his wake, but he's our dick, and at least he knows what he wants in life. At least he took the advice on how to use those tools to build himself a pretty fast boat. Perhaps underneath all that dickish behavior is a realization that being treated well is dependent on treating yourself well. Remember, people mess with you because you let them. Your life is your project, your boat, your job. You get to pick the direction first and then ask others how to get there. And lastly, if after all this you still have zero clue as to where to start, well, make yourself a promise. In 12 months, you're going to build up as much value and abundance in your life as you can. If you're skinny, get muscles. If you're fat, get thin. If you're poor, get money. If you're ugly, get nice clothes. If you're timid, get assertive. If you're needy, become abundant. If your wife hates you, find a potential replacement. If you're trapped in your life, work on an escape plan. And after all that, when that 12th month passes you by, you'll be glad you did, because that new man in front of you is in a much better position to take this boat you've built and drive it somewhere worth going to. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Remember, as always, don't eat paint. In this case, how do you not eat paint? Just stop looking to the internet to solve your life for you. Again, a categorical imperative is something that's true no matter what. Good men do X. Good men do Y. Good men do A. Good men do B. Good men drive a motorbike, smelling of leather, chopping wood, all these symbols of masculinity, and they basically serve two purposes. One, to get you to buy dumb shit you don't need, and two, to get you to feel good and feel like a man without actually pursuing your own self-interest. Either way, it's not working out well for you. But you stick to the hypothetical imperatives, which are, if you want something, do this. In other words, if you want to sleep with more women, then you follow all the dating advice. If you want to have a longer term relationship, then yeah, we've got stuff for that too. Specific problems can give good answers, because that's how swapping notes works for men. To solve problems amongst each other, but actual problems. If you just take your life like an unbroken jigsaw puzzle, dump it on the table and ask a person, how do you put it together? They're not gonna know. And the best they can do is tell you to put together the same way that they put theirs together. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live another guy's life. I don't really trust that guy that had a good one. I don't know what's bad about it. And to be frank, most of you guys out there have really crappy lives, and I wouldn't trade with you in a heartbeat. So just keep that in mind, get your own goals, and then most of these places are much better able to help you. Thanks for sticking around for this red-pilled coffee. Again, as always, audiobooks still on the shelf, just waiting for it. I don't know, man, I'm losing my mind, but I'll catch you guys on the next one.